Hi everybody, this is Wasim. Today I want to talk to you about personal brand. Now, personal brand is essentially what people say about you when you walk out of the door. It's how they judge you, how you make them feel, and it's very, very important in a whole range of different situations. So obviously at work it's very important how your boss judges you, how clients judge you, how your peers judge you. All of those are very important, but actually it's far greater and far further reaching than that. So a personal brand comes across how you might be in a date, or you might be in an interview situation, or you might be meeting your in-laws, or you might be at a pitch for a startup, or you're meeting a VC. Across a whole range of different elements of life, this idea of personal brand is going to come into it. So it's really important to have a positive personal brand and understand how you're coming across to people. There's an aspect of self-awareness there which is really important. So in my mind, it comes down to a couple of or three really key pieces. It's all about having a story. It's about being authentic, and it's about the packaging, unfortunately. There are definitely effective and ineffective personal brands, and those three elements definitely feed into whether your personal brand is effective or ineffective. So let's quickly kind of talk a little bit about those three items. So having a story, what does that mean? Having a story is the same as having a point of view, having something to say which is on point, is articulated well, is the correct language is used, your tonality is correct, your gestures are correct. All of those things are in line with the expectations of that social situation. That's very important. And I can give you an example of that. All of those things might be different when you're watching a football match, and you can shout, you can scream, you can jump up and down. That would be very different to, like I gave you the example of if you were meeting a young lady or a young man for the first time, or if you were meeting their parents for the first time. All of those things would be very different. So having a coherent story is really key. And the other thing is, your story or what you think needs to be based on some form of rationale. When you put something across, when you put an idea across, people have to think, oh yeah, actually you're making sense, you're logical, you're sensible. Now obviously you don't need to be sensible in every single situation. What I'm saying is, specifically in a professional situation, you do need to be, or at least try to be, sensible. The people around you need to think, oh, this guy knows, or this girl knows what they're talking about. Being authentic, now this is really important. You can be the cleverest person around and you can deliver something perfectly, but if people don't think you're genuine, people don't think you're authentic, people don't think that you are telling the truth or are shifty in any way, they're not going to really be in a place where they're going to believe you, or they're going to like you, and that takes away from the overall impact of your brand. So it's very important to be authentic, tell the truth, be congruent, don't look shifty. At some point in the future, I've got this video of Andy Murray, and he's just lost the I think Wimbledon final, the British tennis player Andy Murray, and he is saying congratulations to the other guy, but you can tell he's miserable. He's hating every second of that losing. There's a real lack of congruence, and congruence is something that I pick up quite a lot in the future. Finally, unfortunately, packaging. How do you look? How do you shake hands? How do you sit? Is your posture correct? Are you showing interest? Are you looking someone in the eyes? Are you treating people like they're important? Now, I'm Muslim, and there is a really nice story about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, where his companions would say, when he talked to you, it felt like you were the most important person in the world. When he spoke to you, he turned his whole body when you said something and looked at you in the eye, and it made people feel very important. And there was a story of somebody who comes to him and says, oh, who's your favorite person? And he said, my wife. And then he says, okay, who's your second person? And then he says, my friend, who's her father. And then he says, your third person. And then he says, so and so and so and so. And the guy realizes, okay, I'm not really on the radar. But because of the way he speaks to him, his personal impact is so huge that it makes him feel really, really important. And then simple things, smiling, eye contact, preparing for a conversation, trying to remember somebody's name. I made the worst mistake the other day when I was had a conversation with a potential client, and I completely forgot his name. And instead of stopping and asking, I by mistake gave him the wrong name. I did have the self consciousness maybe, or self-awareness, to stop and say, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. I said I called your name something else. I'm so sorry for that. So that's okay to do, I think. Personal appearance, right? Brush your hair, comb your teeth, all of those sorts of things. Wear professional clothing when in a professional setting. When you're not in a professional setting, it's different. A startup conversation might be completely different. But anyway, this has been a little bit about personal brand, a little bit about impact, something about congruence. So hopefully you found that really interesting, and hopefully if you have, please hit the like button and please subscribe. Thank you very much. This is Work with Wasim.